Imagine waking up without an alarm, no notifications, no deadlines, no pressure to be anywhere. You simply open your eyes when your body is ready, and the day belongs to you. For nearly 300,000 years, almost the entire story of our species, this was normal life. Think about that for a moment. 300,000 years of human existence, and for almost all of it, there were no offices, no clocks, no performance reviews. Today, the average person will spend over 90,000 hours working in their lifetime. That's more than a decade of your life, inside jobs, meetings, commutes, and emails that never seem to end. But before jobs were invented, how did early humans actually spend their days? And how is it possible they only needed around 4 hours of what we'd call work to survive and thrive? In this video, we'll walk through a real day in the life of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, not the dramatic survival version you see in movies, but the quiet, balanced, deeply human rhythm they actually lived, and we'll see why that ancient way of living still whispers to us today. The idea sounds almost offensive to modern ears. 4 hours of work? That can't be right. That sounds like laziness, like fantasy. Yet multiple independent studies of remaining hunter-gatherer groups, the Hadza in East Africa, the Jew hoansi of the Kalahari Desert, the Aboriginal Australians and others, consistently show adults spent roughly 15 to 20 hours per week getting food. That's about 2 to 4 hours per day, and they weren't barely surviving on the edge of starvation. They lived in genuine balance with their environment. They knew which seasons brought abundance. They knew exactly where to find water. They had thousands of years of accumulated knowledge passed down through stories. Now here's the part that challenges everything we assume about progress. When scientists examine ancient skeletons from before the agricultural revolution, before farming began around 10,000 years ago, they find something unexpected: stronger bones, fewer signs of repetitive strain injuries, better dental health, less arthritis, taller average heights in many regions. And then farming arrived, and the skeletons changed. Early farmers showed signs of chronic overwork, nutritional deficiency from relying on single crops, and new diseases from living close to animals. Anthropologist Marshall Sahlins famously called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society, not because they had more things, but because their wants were few, and those wants were easily satisfied. Our ancestors weren't working harder than us. They were working smarter, with greater variety, and for far less time each day. So what on earth filled the rest of their hours? The day begins gently with the first pale light of dawn. Your bed is the earth, softened with dry grass, leaves, or animal hides. You sleep close to your small band of 20 to 50 people, bodies near bodies, for warmth, safety, and the simple comfort of not being alone. Children are nestled among adults. There is no separate bedroom, no nursery. Human touch is constant, natural, and expected. Sleep itself looked different then. Many sleep researchers now believe humans naturally followed a biphasic rhythm: a first sleep from early evening, then a calm, wakeful period in the middle of the night lasting an hour or so, followed by a second sleep until dawn. That quiet, middle-of-the-night window wasn't anxiety or insomnia. It was used for soft conversation, reflection, tending the fire, or simply lying awake in peaceful darkness. In the morning, someone revives the fire. This was sacred communal work. Fire meant safety from predators, warmth on cold nights, cooked food that unlocked more nutrition, and most importantly, a gathering point, a place where the group came together. Breakfast is whatever is at hand. Leftover meat from yesterday, berries collected the afternoon before, roots, nuts, or wild honey if they were lucky. There is no rush. No one is late. Mid-morning, small groups might head out, but not every day, and not everyone. If food from a recent hunt is still available, many simply stay at camp. When they did go out, the work looked nothing like what we imagine. Skilled trackers could read a single footprint and know how long ago an animal passed, which direction it was heading, whether it was injured, and how far it might travel. This was a kind of intelligence, environmental, embodied, accumulated over lifetimes. Women gathering plants weren't randomly picking leaves. They carried deep botanical knowledge, which roots held the most nutrition, which berries were safe this season, which plants could treat fever or infection. Others stayed back crafting, shaping flint tools, weaving, carrying bags from plant fibers, repairing spears, beating necklaces with shells and seeds. This wasn't mindless, repetitive labor. It was skilled, creative, and deeply social. People talked while they worked, they laughed, they taught children by doing. Success didn't come from grinding long hours. It came from knowledge, cooperation, and timing. Some days you walked far. Other days you barely left camp. The variety itself kept life interesting. By early afternoon, the essential tasks were often complete. This is where modern minds truly struggle to understand. People rested in the shade, they played with children, they groomed each other, a deeply bonding act. They made beautiful things, beads, carvings, jewelry with no practical purpose beyond beauty and meaning. They told jokes, they napped, they argued, they simply existed together. As darkness fell, the fire became the center of everything. Food was shared equally, stories flowed. Daytime talk was mostly practical, but at night, conversations turned rich and deep. Myths about the stars, tales of ancestors, lessons about human nature wrapped inside stories. Music emerged, dance, ritual. These weren't distractions. They were the moments when humans practiced imagination, empathy, humor, and meaning, the very activities that made us truly human. This rhythm wasn't a luxury squeezed between chores. For nearly all of human history, it was the default. Survival took half a day. The rest belonged to each other. Compare that to now. We've automated away the hunting, the gathering, the building, and somehow have less time than they did. Our evenings are filled with screens instead of stories, scrolling instead of singing, isolation instead of fire. Maybe that's the real cost of progress. Not that we lost the hunt, but that we lost the night that came after it. The laughter, the myths, the dancing that made us who we are. Perhaps becoming human again doesn't mean going backward. It means remembering what the fire was for. We chase productivity. We optimize schedules. We feel guilty for resting. But for 300,000 years, rest wasn't weakness. Connection wasn't wasted time. Leisure wasn't laziness. It was simply life. Maybe the most radical thing you can do today is ask yourself, am I living or am I only working? Our ancestors gathered around fires not to network, but to belong. They told stories with no agenda. They sat in silence without rushing to fill it. A good day wasn't measured by what they produced. It was measured by who they were with and how present they managed to be. Somewhere along the way, we traded campfires for calendars and called it progress. Maybe it's not too late to remember what we lost. If this made you stop and think, tell me in the comments, what part of this ancient daily rhythm do you wish we could bring back today?